Hi everyone, welcome to the video I promised you about on the standard deviation and how to use it with your Ti-84 calculator. I'm going to be using the Ti-84 color calculator today, but basically any model should look roughly similar to this, and if there's some difference that you don't understand with yours, please let me know and I'll show you the slight variation. So we had this problem in class about the standard deviation of lives. We did a whole bunch of African countries in the class and calculated standard deviation. So now this is the other data set that we had on the board, which is all the life expectancy of the European countries. So in order to calculate this, remember that standard deviation, just to remind you, is the sum of the deviations, so x minus x bar, all squared, and we're going to take that and divide that by n minus 1, and then we take a square root. So this is the calculation we are trying to achieve here. And the part that is really the most difficult is this numerator. And so that's where we're going to use the calculator to do most of the work for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over to the calculator, and what you're going to do is you're going to hit the stat button, which will light up in red when I click it, and we have this menu come up, and we're going to go to edit. So hit enter or hit 1, and notice I've already entered my data. Now you may have data from our example in our class, so if you need to clear it, you can go up here to L1, hit clear, and hit enter, and that will get rid of all the data here. And then you can go in and start entering the data, 81, 80, etc., and fill in the rest of the data in. So take a moment to do that, pause the video. I'm going to cheat and use the magic of technology. So once we get this data set in here, what we're going to do now is we're going to again hit stat and bring back up this menu, but we're going to hit the right key, which just lit up in red, and we're going to go to this menu, and we're going to go to one variable stats. Because the problem is we need to figure out the mean, and we could add up all the numbers, it's not that hard, but since we're using the calculator, let's do it for it. So notice that we will open up to this screen, and we'll have to tell it the list. Now, by default, it will always select the first list, but if you need to select a different list, you can always hit second, and one of the keys, one of the number keys. So for example, if we need a list 3, we hit second 3, and it will change it from list 1 to list 3. But in my example, we are list 1, so I'll hit second 1. Oops. Clear that. Hit second 1. And back on list 1. Frequency list we won't ever have to deal with, and so you keep hitting down until you hit calculate and hit enter. And notice after a second of thinking, this window comes up, and we are looking for this X bar here, which is 81.33. So on your paper, or in my case on my screen, I will write X bar equals 81.3. So now we're going to go back to hit our stat button, hit edit again. So now we have the 81.3. We need to calculate our deviation. So what we're going to do is going to hit right, and we're going to hit up, and we're going to select L2 by hitting enter. And now we can enter a formula. And so what we want to enter the formula is for this numerator that I have pointed out here. But instead of this, so let me change my color here. And if the computer will cooperate, there we go. Instead of this, we're going to write it as L1, which is where we had our list, minus our 81.3, and then we're going to square that. So how do you enter that into the calculator? Well, you use the left parentheses, and so everything's in list 1, so we'll hit second 1, and I'll put L1 in, then we'll minus 81.3, close the parentheses, and then over here to the up left of 7 is the square button, and that'll automatically put a square in. And then if you hit enter, what it does is it goes through everything in L1 and calculates the formula that we entered in for L2, and now these are all the deviations squared. So now what we need to do is we need to sum these all up. So we're going to hit stat. Go back to calculate. We're going to go to one variable stat again. But this time we are going to change to list 2 because that's the quantity we're interested in. And we'll hit enter and enter to get to calculate. And notice it brings up a whole bunch of numbers. And the quantity we want here is the second one, which is this little sigma symbol. The x equals 15.35. So our sum of our deviations is 15.35. Oops, sorry. All right. So this is the part that we needed the calculator to figure out for us because this is just a long calculation. Now we'll finish it out. So S is equal to the square root of the sum of the x minus x bar squared over n minus 1. This can actually be rewritten as the square root of 1 over n minus 1 times the sum of the x minus x bars squared. The justification for pulling out the 1 minus n1 is that we just had a common factor in all our terms, so we can just factor it out. And so this is the quantity we actually calculated, so we can take this 15.3 and substitute it in for there, and we get the square root of 1 minus n minus 1 times 15.35. And now the question is, what is n? Well, n is just the number of data points. And if you notice, if we count them up, there's actually 15. So in this case, n is 15, and so we'll get the square root of 1/14 times 15.35. And so then we can just go back to the calculator and just calculate that real fast. So you can hit the clear to get out of this screen. And so second, the square button, we'll put in the square root. And we can put 15.35 divided by 14. Oh, don't need that parenthesis. And notice that our answer is 1.04. And that is our value of S. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or ask me during break in class, and I will see you on Thursday.